Hi, this is a review of Solo, a Star Wars story, and I wrote a lot of this out to organize my thoughts, so it's gonna sound like I'm reading some of it because I am. Alright, so on a whim, I went to see Star Wars. Originally wasn't because I was so dissatisfied with The Last Jedi, and I gotta say, Solo was not horrible. It had a lot of problems, and I don't know if it was just the movie theater that I went to, but the movie was extremely dark. I couldn't really tell what was happening most of the time, and I kept thinking, like, has Ron Howard ever heard of lighting? But that may have just been the fact that the movie theater I went to stunk. But other than that, a lot of the action was very blurry and close up, and I couldn't really tell who was fighting whom most of the time. And Han Solo didn't really do much at all other than be kind of an awkward nerd. Like, sometimes that worked because Han Solo has plenty of moments where, like, he's got this plan that he really needs to work, and then he just expresses, like, this extreme amount of confidence, and then the floor just falls right out from under his plan. Like, that's always been a part of how he went about his business. So that was kind of characteristic of Han Solo, but I felt like he was a little geekier than normal. And I hate to say this because I have a voice that sounds a little like a creaky door hinge, but Alden Ehrenreich's voice was really annoying, and like I keep expecting to see a Harrison Ford like Han Solo, but instead he's got a weak sounding voice like mine, and every time he spoke, it kind of took me out of my immersion in that he was Han Solo. But he did look enough like the character, so it was kind of cool to see him walking around with Chewbacca, and but every time like he spoke or they showed him in like a wide shot where he was in the distance, like he was just so skinny and angular that he just kind of looked like a weak bag of bones next to Chewbacca. And the part of the movie that annoyed me the most was that I was annoyed that Lando Calrissian went from being this smooth talking player type of character to a clammy dweeb who has sex with one of those like real dolls, only it was metallic and it had like a robot brain. And the robot that he was in love with, there was nothing. It looked like a walking car engine. There was nothing sexual about it. It was just like a rusty conglomeration of mechanical utilitarian parts. And like maybe if the robot had like a nice personality, I could understand why Lando might have loved it, but it didn't have a nice personality. It was just bitching non-stop. It was just like, it was a bull in a china shop of self-righteousness. And like it was so caught up in its own politics that it couldn't pause from its bitching for a second to be aware of its surroundings long enough to think, like, we're in a world full of barbarians who will probably kill us if we throw a tantrum right now. It's like it's a tense situation. Everybody's got to have guns. Maybe I shouldn't like act like a child and throw a tantrum. Maybe I should have a cool head. It was just like, it just noisily and stupidly said everything that came to mind right then and there. And it had no patience, it had no subtlety, no intellectual stamina. It was just like, it was so caught up in its own self-righteousness that it didn't even have any empathy toward the robots that it was freeing. Like, there was this one scene where it was freeing this like little robot who had a restraining bolt, and she was like, "Okay, now you're free. Now get out of my way so I can go back to being a drama queen." And it was just like, it was annoying. You're free now. Get out of my way so I can go back to yelling my drama bullshit at the top of my lungs while all the smart characters are trying to accomplish something that requires skill and a level head. I don't know whether I'm more annoyed with the robot for having no ability to be cool under pressure or the weak people who tolerated her. Like, if I was at work and that was one of my coworkers, I think I would have to quit. Like, who wants to be around that? Like, you can't focus on what we're doing for 1 minute. Anyway, Lando loved that character. He was in love with her. The robot... Ugh. And there were no tender moments between Lando and his robot girlfriend other than the death scene. Like we never saw why Lando was in love with this robot. When the robot revealed that it had sex with Lando, I honestly felt a little sick to my stomach. And when Lando was getting all choked up and emotional as the robot died in his arms, it made me a little sick again because they didn't even give as much time and emotional recognition to another important human character who also died. Like, they were so interested in being political in a shocking way by making a robot who's interested in robot rights that this human character got nothing. Like, they just got like 5 seconds of, oh, I'm sad. All right, back to business, back to the train heist. And that was really annoying. And quite a few times during the movie, like, I just lost all immersion because I was asking myself, are women really this insecure that they need every male character in every sci-fi movie and sitcom to be this clumsy doofus who's just stupid and just a bungling Dick Van Dyke type of character who trips over the ottoman to make women feel smart? Like, I feel like that should be a term, like, for when a male character just acts stupid deliberately so insecure nerd girls don't cry. Like, they should call that tripping over the ottoman. Like, whenever all the male characters are deliberately made to be stupid and clumsy, contrasting a genius, sassy woman, I feel like they should call that tripping over the ottoman. Anyway, so yeah, that aside, I did like the Kira character, and at first I thought she was just going to be another Disney female character who's always right and an expert at everything, but she actually did have a large time gap in the beginning where we didn't see her. That kind of justified her skills. And I must say there was a pretty cool cameo that added a lot of sense to her abilities, and I was skeptical of her at first, but now that the movie's over and I've digested everything, I really like the Kira character a lot, and I kind of hope to see her again in one of the sequels that they're supposedly making. But the pacing of the movie was very choppy and fast, and other than the lighting and Lando's stupid robot relationship, I feel like there was a lot of good stuff in this movie. Like, I love seeing dirty Star Wars again. Like, one of the things I hate about The Phantom Menace and The Last Jedi was that there are cartoon characters in a movie that looks like it should be a realistic movie. Like, I like dirty, slimy, rusty Star Wars. That's real Star Wars to me. Like, Star Wars, I hated the fact that Last Jedi had all these stupid little cute Pokemon characters. Like, you had the Porgs. Ooh, now I'm in the shot again being cute. Oh, now I'm like the Silver Fox guy. Now I'm dog ear horse rabbit thing. Like, there was just too much cuteness. That's not what Star Wars is. Star Wars is dirty. It's scaly. It's slimy. It's rusty and mechanical. We don't need Pokemons in it. I thought that the fact that this movie didn't have any Pokemons and it was an adequate amount of grime, I found that to be refreshing. So let's see, what else? yeah, I mean, there were a lot of parts where I'd start to feel like I'm getting bored. I kind of want to walk out. But then immediately after, something amazing would happen. And then I'd be like, okay, I'm with you still. Like, you're getting on my nerves just a little bit, but there was enough refreshing stuff. There was enough, intensity. There was enough mature stuff going on that it held my attention. And I gotta say, like, these Star Wars story side adventures are restoring my faith in Star Wars a little bit. And I'd say this movie is probably a B, maybe a B plus. Like, it hovers around that range. It's definitely not an A, but there was a lot of cool stuff. I might even go as far as A minus, but let's just be safe. Let's be conservative and say I'm thinking B plus. I want to watch it again because I feel like the movie theater I was in, it just looked so dark, and I was like squinting and trying to like make out what was happening. So I kind of want to see it again just to see at a different theater, just to see if maybe the details show up a little bit. So anyway, to start wrapping this video up, right now my list of Star Wars movies from best to worst, just so you can kind of get a feel for what my tastes are and whether or not you have this review has any credibility. This is my list from best to worst. Number 1, Empire Strikes Back. 2, A New Hope. 3, Return of the Jedi. 4, Rogue One. 5, Solo. This movie ranks in at 5. 6, The Force Awakens. I put that one after Solo because the Maz Kanata character was just so dumb. I hated that character so much, and then just Rey being invincible docked points from it. I thought the CGI monster going around in that space station I didn't like it. I'm an animator, and I just sometimes if I see something that I don't like the movement of it when it's CGI animation, it just makes my skin crawl. So Force Awakens is 6 after Solo. Number 7, I liked the first 3/4 of Attack of the Clones, and I didn't really like the ending. I haven't seen it in a long time. I didn't like Attack of the Clones enough to ever watch it a second time, but if memory serves, I liked the first 3/4 of it, and that's number 7. And the other 2 prequels, I hated them so much that they're next, and I don't even care what order they're in. They're just 8 and 9. Choose whatever order you think. And then finally, last and least is that stupid Last Jedi movie. That was probably that's one of the stupidest movies I've seen in my life. Not just Star Wars, just in general. I'm never going to see a Rian Johnson movie ever again. And I probably would not see another Star Wars movie ever again if it wasn't for this Solo movie. So I'm still a Star Wars fan, and Rogue One and Solo are the only reason why. So alright. Thanks for watching. See you later.